Okay, Lee Jones here from esports.net. I'm speaking with SK's head coach Swiffer after a 3-0 week, 3-0 opener to the summer 2024 split. Must be pretty
Hello.
pleased with that.
Yeah. I think that, obviously, really pleased. Although I'm hyper aware of like the SK Week 1 meme stuff, so I'll just, yeah, I'm not gonna not get too excited.
Fair enough. Um, I think it's maybe even more impressive though. Obviously, you guys had two roster changes, and then I suppose you could even expect that maybe things take time to gel, whatever, and it could be a bit of a slow start. Does that make it kind of even more satisfying to just come out like that?
I mean, you know what? Actually, to be honest, um, the fact that like the bot lane doesn't have the best communication right now, um, has actually made it so that our top side are really concise with their plan making and understand that there's a lot of responsibility on them to kind of shape the game. Um, and I feel like it's made the team a lot more cohesive, like in a weird way than anyone like than overcomplicating plans or saying or like having a dispute in game about what the most optimal thing is, right? I think that it's just when we are in official games, it is a lot easier to just plan, I think, for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Um, Obviously, I guess you would have seen that when their signing was announced, or even when it was leaked, there was a big debate and a bit, to say the least, of backlash with why not go for European players and everything like that.
Yeah.
What was your thought on that kind of whole discourse, I suppose?
I mean, like, I understand the sentiment, but I think, first of all, like an unwarranted amount of vitriol. Secondly, a lot of the people writing just actually, I know that they have very limited understanding of what happens behind the scenes, right? Um, so there's no point getting angry about that. I just wish, I don't know, people were more reasonable
Mm-hmm.
about trying to understand why it's happening the way that it's happening. Um, or like the processes that are involved or something. It's not like we just opened up like Games of Legends and just looked at uh, like looked for someone that had like the Korean flag next to their name and just went, "Yep, that looks good to us." Um, so it's I get the sentiment, but completely unwarranted.
Mm-hmm. Was there How did it come about that it was those two in particular? Were they being shopped around as a duo, or had you looked at other Koreans, or even one of them and not the other, or anything like that?
Not particularly. So we watched like an extensive amount of challenges, and then to be honest, like um, it started from. I mean, we made the decision around like to look for somebody else for our bot lane, and we originally only wanted to do one part of the bot lane swap, and we were mainly looking at support, um, and we wanted someone that we felt like would actually mesh really well with our then AD carry Exakick. Um, and then when we found what we found like was the like a really good player, we realized that the English wasn't fantastic, and because we were looking at swapping like half of the bot lane out, we'd also been looking at AD carries, and Rahel for us was basically at the top of the list, amongst like a few European prospects actually that didn't work out for whatever reason. And so then it kind of became, well, they both really like wanted to play with each other, and we felt like both of our players had problems in their own respects, right? And so we felt like the change was quite justified in that way.
Hmm. Do you think then getting the two of them has made it easier for them to adapt? I know there's always like the kind of famous thing of making it sometimes being difficult to help Korean players bed in, and then they say get another Korean, but then that's not that's maybe an oversimplification. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, is there kind of anything you guys have done in particular to help them settle?
I think that there's actually they have a lot of support from like I think their agent is really good. Like constantly available on call, like instant English lessons, and the woman who takes them for those lessons kind of is like I feel like for them a bit more of like a, I hesitate to say maternal figure, but like takes care of them,
Yeah.
right? Like make sure that she's also like she's also checking in on them and their well-being and everything. I do actually think that even though sure it's an oversimplification, um, we were really hesitant in doing it because we were worried about homesickness, burnout, like just loneliness, right? And not being able to like properly do that, which is also actually in part what led to the double import. So they get along with each other really well and have been completely unproblematic, like with every respect. And then like the three players that we have really gone like I mean Irrelevant, Isma and Niski have gone above and beyond to kind of being inclusive and make sure that they're feeling the vibe and feeling welcome. So I feel like just being we I mean, except for that, not too much. Yeah.
Cool. Obviously, Luon wasn't previously called Luon. Was that something that was kind of like agreed before he came? Like when if you come, this has got to change, kind of thing.
Yeah. It was actually it was actually really funny. My who was it? I remember. I think it was my brother. When I was talking to him about it, he said like it's a bit of a weird name to have, isn't it? And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even think of that. And then and then yeah, we kind of started asking around and we realized that it wouldn't be appropriate. So before he got signed to the database, I think yeah, we had already agreed that he would be getting swapped.
Sure.
Like the name would have to be swapped.
Fair enough. Just looking to the rest of the split and the rest of the season then, do you reckon you guys can kind of keep up this pace now? Because I feel like there's been a few times maybe over the last couple of years where SK have maybe had a really good split and then it kind of slumps a bit, and then like this winter was quite good, spring slumped a bit, you're back up again at the start of summer. Do you reckon this is like the time now where it sticks?
Yeah, I actually think like we've obviously tried to retroactively look at why that's the case. I we put it down to trying to just cram too much into the week, or like into the split, and just so from like a coaching perspective, just making it overcomplicated, or like trying to change things too much from what we actually identified as our strengths. Having said that, it's just when you have success or you feel like you can kind of branch out into every direction. And I think if you don't have like a very clear focus about where you're going as a team, then it's really easy to look around and see a bunch of different directions that you can go. But I think that's where like we've hopefully improved a lot as like a leadership group.
Cool.
In steering that direction well.
Nice. One final question to finish up then. Who's currently the best Australian Greek head coach operating in Europe? Is it yourself or Tottenham manager Ange Postecoglou?
Yeah. I mean, you snatched it out of you snatched the words out of my mouth. I think he's by far and away a lot better than me. And claim to fame, he went to school with my dad back in the day. So yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? Well, I mean, there was like maybe a 5-year age gap or something. Like,
yeah, he's not
I don't think they actually knew each other. But yeah, no. But my dad was a good soccer player. Set the culture at the school. Who knows? Without dad, maybe there's no Ange. Anyway, yeah, he'll be thrilled that I mentioned that. Anyway, but yeah,
wicked.
Thank you.
No worries. All right, thanks for your time, then, Swiffer, and yeah, best of luck in the rest of the split.
Easy. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for having me.